get comfortable. We're going to try to get you out of here, pretty quick, because thank you for coming out in this epic blizzard on the first day of spring in Vermont. So that kind of had to happen, and I appreciate you all being here. Welcome. My name is Tricia Ingalls, and I'm the director of the Leach Public Library. So just to start off, oh, here comes Lynn, and she's got a seat. Good. I'd like to read a poem. We're in a library. It's called And Bob Dylan Too, by the late Mary Oliver, from her book of poems, 1,000 Warnings. Yeah, take a seat. Anything worth thinking about is worth singing about, which is why we have songs of praise, songs of love, songs of sorrow, songs to the gods who have so many names, songs the shepherds sing on the lonely mountains while the sheep are honoring the grass by eating it, the dance song of the bees to tell where the flowers suddenly in the morning light have opened, a chorus of many shouting to heaven or at it or pleading, or that greatest of love affairs, a violin and a human body. And a composer, maybe hundreds of years dead. I think of Schubert, scribbling on a cafe napkin. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I think of this library, a repository for so many thoughts and feelings, poems and stories that have come before, but it's also a place that is alive in the day-to-day, with children and adults and babies, generations of them. We're here today 100 years after the construction of this library in 1926 to finally make true what it says above the door, free to all. The library has always been free to all, but not everybody who wants to has always been able to cross its threshold. Thanks to a grant from the U.S. Department of the Treasury, which came to us through the Vermont Department of Libraries, we're undertaking this once-in-a-century renovation to make the building not only accessible, but a joyful community gathering space to enhance what's already here. We've been attempting this project in some form or another since long before my time, and our trustee Judith Jackson can attest to that. And it's my honor to be the one here to help see it become a reality. We have folks here today who are going to say a few words and officially kickstart this project. But first, I just want to take a couple more minutes and thank a few people. And actually, two pieces of housekeeping. The restroom is gone. So, despite appearances in the basement, you can't use it. But the town hall is open. If anybody needs a restroom, it's a short journey next door. And also in your program, we have Commissioner of Libraries, Catherine Del Neo, but it's snowing really hard, and she decided not to risk her life today, and she sent remarks. And so the role of Commissioner Del Neo will be played by Judith Jackson. So first and foremost, I'd like to thank our Youth Services Librarian, Colette Houle. She has been the beating heart of this library for over 20 years, and I know for a fact that many of our patrons, many of them, come to the library more to visit with Colette than to check out a book. Welcome back. Another time when Mrs. Houle is here. She's about to experience some considerable disruption, and already has, over the coming months, but she's borne all the changes so far with patience and incredible grace. Keep coming to see her, even when the machines are working outside. Next, I'd like to thank our current Board of Trustees. John Miller, our chair, Teresa Piet, Judith Jackson, Liz Perrin, Phyllis Mosier, Brian Aaron, Stephen and Megan Charlesworth, and Mary Lehart. They've been fully invested and supportive of this project since before it was ever even a real possibility, and they make my role as director a joyful and fulfilling one. And of course, I'd like to thank our town clerk, Danielle Ingalls, who keeps everything running smoothly, and our select board, Dave Lehart, the chair, Mike Booth, and Patrick Harkey. The town of Irasburg owns and supports the library. And in fact, the support by Irasburg's elected officials is the reason we ended up benefiting from the donation of this library 100 years ago instead of a certain neighboring town by Orrin and Cora Leach. That other town didn't want to commit to ongoing support of the library, but Irasburg did, and so here we all are. Our architects, Nella and James Coe, have been working on this project in some stage or another for over 5 years now. And I think when we gather back here in the fall for the ribbon cutting, you'll find their designs and attention to detail on this project to be breathtaking. I'm so grateful to them for helping us navigate this process for so many years, and we're all very excited to see it come to life. I hope you'll see them later to learn about what the project will involve. And of course, we're very grateful to the Vermont Department of Libraries for our competitive award of $1.2 million that's going to make all this possible. So after a few more people speak, and you have your program hopefully, we'll do a little shuttling with our contractor, Spades Construction. And I hope you'll come inside for more refreshments and to look at the plans of the renovation. And finally, I wrote a little blessing for the occasion that I'd like to share with you now. Library, as you get torn into, your roots exposed, your belly gutted, may you continue to stand serene, waiting, withstanding the intrusion, patiently guarding your words, and holding your breath. When you awake in the fall, may you delight in the newness, holding fast to your age and wisdom, a place of joy and giggles, rustling pages, new ideas mixed with old. Even on days when you languish, silent, waiting for the lives that will fill you up, may you remain upright, steadfast, keeping watch over the common and the town, ready to greet the day, a safe space, a new century. Okay, thank you. And now, I'm very pleased to have Select Board Chair Dave Lehart.
Here's a chair we can sit in.
Can you hear me all right without this?
Yeah.
Is that okay? I'm probably a little better without it. So, boy, it brings new meaning to shovel-ready projects. I'll tell you. All right. Specs here. Thank you all for coming. This is an exciting day for our community. We're marking the start of a construction project, yes, but we're also honoring a legacy that has shaped our town for nearly a century now. We're in the middle of mud season too, of course, and winter and summer is debatable on any given day. I wrote this a few days ago, by the way, and I didn't think it was quite as apropos, but bear with me. But if you talk to someone outside of this local realm who's been to Irasburg, they almost always comment on our beautiful green adorned with these stately buildings, right? We take that for granted, I think, sometimes, being here every day. We drive through here every day on our way here and there. But I invite you all to come back. Most of you are local, but if you're not, I invite you all to come back when the lawn's reseeded and lush green, or next fall, when we seem to step into a postcard-like backdrop and soak in just how special this place is. We're so lucky here. I mean, we are just so lucky here. Truly. I want to extend a heartfelt thanks to our library director, Tricia Ingalls, who whose vision here and steady leadership have brought us here. Tricia's commitment to expanding access to learning and ensuring our library remains welcoming, vibrant space for everyone is invaluable. I also want to thank Danielle Ingalls, our town clerk, who has helped us not only navigate the financial and administrative side of this project, but also has helped us to garner grant funding for the sidewalk project, which we hope will connect this building with this school within the next 2 years, they're telling us. It's a long process, but it is underway. To Danielle's credit, I think, we submitted that project. I think Tricia worked on it too. We've submitted that project 3 times, I think, and we finally got it. It was a no, a no, a no, and now we're here. So great stuff. I think those 2 things will really be good. We're also grateful to John Miller and the library trustees for their guidance, advocacy, and unwavering belief in what this library means to our town. Their work behind the scenes has helped make it possible. I want to also take a moment to acknowledge Colette Houle, whose warmth and enthusiasm have made the library a really special place for our youngest readers. I can speak to that firsthand. My boys, when they were young, we would come in here and they would always look forward to trading in and getting some new books. I have a couple of them that are real, true bookworms, as is my wife. If you haven't talked to her already, she's a very avid reader. So, and I think as a teacher would tell you that just how important it is, right, to start kids reading early. It's huge. Doesn't matter what they choose to do, but it's just it gives them a big step up. So, anyway, kudos and thank you. The Leach Library has stood as a testament to thoughtful design and civic pride. Libraries are our greatest equalizer. They offer opportunity without judgment, knowledge without barriers, and a sense of belonging to anyone who walks through these doors. The Leach Public Library has been and will continue to be an invaluable asset to our town, supporting families, inspiring young readers, and giving us a place to gather, imagine, and grow. Today's groundbreaking reflects what we value as community: education, connection, and shared spaces that enrich our daily lives. As Judith Jackson, I believe, coined it, our common ground. Right? When we invest in our library, we invest in every person who calls this amazing place home. Thank you to everyone who helped make this day special, possible, and I think the best chapters are ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. That was such a heartfelt piece. Good afternoon. It is an honor to stand here today as principal of our local school and as a member of a community that so clearly values learning, history, and opportunity. When I think about the Leach Public Library, I don't just think about a building. I think about the possibility. Nearly a century ago, Orrin and Cora Leach made a remarkable gift to this town. A belief that knowledge should be shared, that doors should be open, and that a small rural community deserves access to the wider world. Their vision was simple, powerful, and still etched above the entrance to today, free to all. That idea has shaped generations of learners. As a principal, I see firsthand what a library means to our students. It is where curiosity begins. It is where a kindergartner first falls in love with books. It is where a struggling reader finds confidence. It is where imagination takes root and grows. Today, as we break ground, we are not just improving a building. We are renewing a promise that every child, every family, every member of this community will continue to have access to knowledge, connection, and opportunity. This project, supported by American Rescue Plan Act and guided by the Vermont Department of Libraries, represents more than funding. It represents belief in rural communities, in public institutions, and the future of places like Irasburg. For our schools, this means stronger partnerships. It means more opportunities for literacy, research, and exploration. It means a space where learning extends beyond the classroom walls into the heart of the community. For our students, it means this: you matter, your learning matters, your future matters. For all of us, it is a reminder that while buildings may age, the values behind them do not. Nearly 100 years ago, a band played, keys were handed over, and a community gathered with pride. Today, we gather with that same pride and with hope for the next 100 years. Let this new chapter of the library continue to inspire readers, thinkers, and dreamers. Let it remain a place where every child feels welcome. And let us continue to honor the words that have guided this space for generations. Free to all.
I'm going to try it without the microphone also. Everybody hears me, of course, probably. Thank you all for coming out on this very snowy day, almost dangerously so in terms of the driving. Grant reminded me when he came in today that I had said that, well, if there was no snow, we would shovel some to make sure we had something to shovel. And in terms of the ground breaking, the ground has been broken, if you look behind, right? With the new concrete, the walls are up and poured, and I guess the forms will be pulled off on Monday.
Yeah, the pour set up for Tuesday.
Yeah, and admittedly, one of the great advantages of being a retired board member of the library is I can sort of poke around when most people are out working. I can just stop in here in the mornings or in the afternoons, and Colette's working with young children, or even sometimes babies with mothers and things. And just to sit back and just listen and observe the dynamic and just the smiles on the faces of the children and the young mothers. I mean, this is a gathering place for the community, and it's really an encompassing place. It's a wonderful place, and it's a wonderful board, which I feel very fortunate to be working with. They're very dedicated, many of whom have been here through numerous tours as chair, and really great. And I want to mention the director of the library in particular, in terms of receiving so many grants recently, and the one that's related directly to the building of the extension of this building. Tricia has been an extraordinary grant writer. She's a professional grant writer. She very kindly is a particularly extremely non-profit grant writer for us, right? I don't mean to say that facetiously, but you really, it's amazing how much you've done, very successfully so. And I love the fact that, well, I really love the fact, it's important that you heard that we applied numerous times for certain grants, and there's something about persistence, that there's usually a happy ending to persistence, isn't it? Keep that in mind, young people. And I want to thank James and Nella, and I particularly learned the last few days going out and walking foolishly up the ramps. All the guys working with the cement from Goslin's are saying, "Are you all right, Mr. Miller? Can we help you up the ramp?" They're looking at me, right? I'm sort of going like this because I'm trying to document this whole process. But and I'm looking inside of one of the walls forms, and they had cut an angular piece of pressure-treated wood and screwed it in just at the top of where the concrete wall would be. And so when that concrete is poured, it will have a beautiful bevel all along the outside edge, and it ran straight into the original bevel that's on the side of this building. I mean, that's the kind of close design that the Co. Sorry, Nella's not here today, have done that very thoughtfully with historical considerations, and any contractor here would understand it. That kind of level of perfection.
We tell architects we try to make 1 out of 3 jobs look like this room. Anyway, doing okay on this and so far.
Well, anyway, in all, the concrete crews have been great watching them work, hard workers, bodies, clothing, gloves, faces covered, splashing concrete, and it's a wonderful thing that's happening here. And of course, I want to again thank the library trustees who have been so great. Colette, I mean, the whole group is working with this library, and in the whole town, it's a wonderful group of people with whom to work. And the library itself, where I grew up in Coventry, our library was a tiny little room over the general store. But what it did have in common with this place is when you walked up the stairs to the general store in the village of Coventry, you could smell the wood smoke of this little tiny box stove in the library, right? And it was way warmer than our house, so we kids always went across the street from our homes to get inside the warmest room in the village, right? And even having a crackling fire adds to the charm of this beautiful library. It's a cozy place. And one of the very important parts of the plan in the finality of this job, when the building is completed, we're going to have a very special room downstairs. They've taken out the old walls. It's going to be a very large space, and it's going to be named the Howard and Phyllis Mosier Community Room. And they were So that being said, thank you all, and I'll just end it with a very short poem. I'm not usually in the poetic book, but it's not my poem. So, this is called In the Library by Charles Simic, New Hampshire poet who just died a few years ago. There's a book called A Dictionary of Angels. No one had opened it in 50 years. I know, because when I did, the covers creaked, the pages crumbled. There I discovered the angels were once as plentiful as species of flies. The sky at dusk used to be thick with them. You had to wave both arms just to keep them away. Now the sun is shining through the tall windows. The library is a quiet place. Angels and gods huddled in the dark, unopened books. The great secret lies on some shelf Miss Jones passes every day on her rounds. I was going to say Miss Colette, but I didn't say that. She's very tall, so she keeps her head tipped as if listening. The books are whispering. I hear nothing, but she does. So, thank you to the librarians who know how to deliver great services to everybody and encourage people to read and learn. Thank you.
Tricia said I had to keep it to an hour, so I'll do my best. But seriously, I could probably talk for an hour about where it's at. Irasburg has always been our hometown. When my father was in the military, traveling all around the world, we always came back to Irasburg. My grandparents lived above Ray's Market for 18 years. Then they moved down the road a little bit and then bought a house in town, and Kevin and his family now have that town. But in between going and traveling all over the world, we would spend time going to school. We went to where the town clerk is. We went to school there, and we'd go walk up to the library. This is where the library was. And we'd walk to the town hall to have lunch. That's what we did, but always walking by the library. So the library's always been kind of part of our lives. We've played so many baseball games out in the common. We'd come sit in the library. That's what we would do. I think one of my biggest honors of being in town was when I joined Dave on the select board, and then really got ingrained in. It got me kind of into politics. Some people curse that, even myself sometimes. But again, the love for the town. Our family has a Thanksgiving dinner every year, feeding anybody who wants to come for free next door. And then but one thing that's always been has been a constant. And I think that when Dave and I, and it was Mark Collette at the time, worked together with Danielle and other various town folks. Judith was always there, and Peter were there, and everybody was there. We did something very, very special at the time, and that was that there was an old change of guard going on in town, and I don't think the communication was going really quite the way that it was. And there was people that were very conservative and people that were very liberal, and they just weren't getting along that well. We changed that, and when it was all said and done, we had a group of folks that came in that seemed to be getting shut out of the process the whole time, and that really kind of bothered us a little bit. And next thing you know, they kind of adopted the library a little bit, and they had an after-school program, and I think at one time they had almost 80 kids coming, which I thought was pretty amazing, because at that point in time, I mean, it was an old library. That's all it was. But, that's not what communities are. Communities are gathering points as far as, where do you go, where do you come to? And that's what's really neat about community now. And, in the time that we have where we have Amazon and we have all this thing, well, we'll just shop online, or we'll just do this, we'll do that. It's getting harder and harder to make sure that people still get together, but people still want that connection to each other. They still want a place to go. They still want a place to visit. They still want to come. And as it was said, well, maybe for some people just come to see Colette. Well, what's wrong with that? I mean, as long as you can, as long as you have that spot to come to, I think it's very special. I think it's very neat that 100 years later, on this day, or about this day, that the town got together and did something special, and that was to adopt this library and to do things. And I think this is just as special. I think at this day, I'm hoping long after we're gone that people are going to get together and they're going to talk about two events. They're going to talk about 1926, and they're going to talk about 2026. About all the great things that have gone on here, and what they've done and what they did, and maybe at that point in time too there will be another expansion of the library, and there'll be something great and doing something together. Because again, it isn't about books, it isn't about digital, it isn't about whatever, it's about people. And that's what you do with community, and this is what makes this place so special. It's been here for a long time. If things keep on going the way that it's going, it will be here for another long time. And it will hopefully always be a place, even we don't know what holds the future, but if it keeps on going the way that it is, there'll be more pressures for people not to communicate with one another. But let this be a beacon for people forever to be able to come and communicate and get along and talk with one another. And let's make sure it's always free for all. And thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
Not Catherine Del Neo, the Library Commissioner of Vermont, but I'm going to do my best to communicate her very kind remarks to us. For nearly a century, she writes, your community has sustained the Leach Public Library. Although the ways you access material have transformed since 1926, the role of the library has changed very little, as Russ just pointed out. The Leach Library is still a place to find great reading materials and resources. It continues to welcome groups of children from the nearby school, and it continues to serve as a preferred location for cultural events and community meetings. Your library is the beating heart of your community. This building project reflects a shared commitment to having a public library here in Irasburg that continues to serve, as it always has, while also evolving to meet the needs of your community in the future. This project features a new meeting room and accessibility improvements that ensure that this library, which is free for all, has space for everyone and that everyone can use it easily. The Vermont Department of Libraries commends Tricia Ingalls, the library director, the trustees of the Leach Library, and the Irasburg Select Board for their vision and the leadership, both of which were necessary to bring this project to fruition. We appreciate the opportunity to support your community with grant funds from the U.S. Department of Treasury's American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, Coronavirus Capital Project Funds program. We feel confident that through this once-in-a-generation building project, your library will be better equipped to provide 21st century library services to your community, including access to the internet. We appreciate the opportunity to support you and look forward to celebrating the completion of the building project with you later this year. Yours truly, Catherine Del Neo. And I believe that concludes the remarks this afternoon.
Thank you.
My program program, it says shovels ready. So, yeah. As we always do here at the library, we'll let our library director tell us what to do.
Whatever you want. So we need at least a few people to come outside.
We need Dave.
Yeah, where's Dave?
Oh, leave.
Dave Leha.
We're gonna grab a shovel.
Come on, Dave.
And where's James?
Here, Dave. Here, there's another one right here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, James should be. Where's James? Or a
Yeah.
tiny shovel.
Throw one.
Yeah. Trisha, you want us to here? At least hold one.
I'll hold a little.
Does it have to be dirt or?
Compared to the snow, even the leaves look brown. So
Yeah,
it's good,
yeah.
right?
There we go.
All right,
Here comes James.
Are we ready?
No, not
Okay,
yet.
we doing this?
give James a little shovel. Yeah. Blake, what about you?
Why not? But
I got it, John.
Do it again.
Blake, can you come take my phone and get it?
Just don't hit the lens when you throw your shovel.
There's 2 people without them, and they have 2 over there. So.
All right.
There we go. There we go.
You ready?
Yeah.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.